with the Humane Society of Bay County at their annual fundraiser, Santa Paws Holiday Photos. Photo packages start at just $35 and are considered a donation to the Humane Society. Gather up your fur babies, family, and friends and come on over. Holiday photos take place on Saturday, December 3rd and Sunday, December 4th at their thrift and gift store. Appointments are recommended, but walk-ins are welcome. Don't wait. Book now. To book, call 850-640-4708 or visit their website, adoptme.org. Their thrift store is located at 1352 West 15th Street in the Panama City Plaza at the corner of 15th Street and Lisenby. Create everlasting memories this holiday season. 100% of the proceeds benefit the Humane Society of Bay County.
WGSX Lunaden, WTOT, W271DM Mariana, WVLQ Port St. Joe, powered by Pepsi, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Lights, camera, action.
It's the Coach James Hale Show.
Do you know who I am?
Live and local inside the J. Michael Studio.
People know me.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning and happy holidays from all of us here at the Coach James Hale Show. Sitting in for Coach Hale this week is Brian Haddad with special guest Dr. Chad Mitchell. And now with sports of all sorts, here's Brian.
To running the asylum this week. Coach Hale has flown the coop. Brian Haddad sitting in this week for you on the Coach James Hale Show. And joining us, like he does every single Monday, Dr. Chad Mitchell. Doc, how you doing this morning?
Brian, I'm doing great.
I know we missed you last week. Any truth to the rumor you were assisting in the transition surgery for Coach Hale?
No, I don't do those surgeries.
Oh, okay. I just started
Unless
that
we
rumor.
Transition his knee.
Oh, okay. Well, that ought to garner me a phone call after today's show.
Absolutely. Hey, any harassment for Coach Hale, bring it.
Cool.
And you know, the callers, they can call in and pile on.
Absolutely. If you want to call in, be a part of the show today, chastise me for that opening joke, you're welcome to give us a call here at 215-6290. That is 215-6290. Well, we got a day full of good college football news. There may not be that many games going on, but there certainly is a whole lot of news, and we're going to get into it today. But I wanted to start, like we try to every morning, with some good local stuff because we've moved out of the fall sports. Now we're kind of into the winter and got a lot of things going on locally. So some of the highlights from Friday and Saturday. Let's start with boys basketball. Got a lot of games going on. We had Jay taking the victory over Walton, 49-32. Mosley and Arnold played a great contest Friday. Mosley ended up the victors, 73-68 over Arnold. That looks like that's going to be a great little battle this year with those two teams. Arnold's really improved in basketball, so good job there. Bozeman gets it done over Port St. Joe, 72-53. Bay High School getting it done athletically again. Of course, Coach Cook had such a great run last year. They earned a hard-fought victory over South Walton, 54-40. Franklin County takes down North Bay Haven, 73-67. And Sneeds ekes out a win in a low-scoring affair against Cottondale, or as Glenn would say, Catondelay, 36-33. Let's move over to the ladies' side. Girls basketball over the weekend. We had Walton taking down Strawn by 1, 28-27. Graceville gets the better of Crestview, 39-37. North Bay Haven piles it on. Franklin County, little payback for the boys' loss. North Bay Haven 65, Franklin County 29. Freeport takes down Strawn 34-30. Mosley, either this is a typo or a heck of a victory. I've got Mosley 54, Sneeds 5.
Wow.
Either way, I got Mosley winning that game. Let me know if I've got that wrong, but I just read what's on the website. Liberty 59, Vernon 30. Rutherford, Rams get a nice victory over Rickards, 59-30. And Port St. Joe takes down Bozeman, 52-32. In soccer, inspired by the World Cup, I'm sure, we had a lot of results here. For the boys, only had one. South Walton hangs 7 on Milton. 7-0.
Wow.
Big victory.
That's a lopsided
For
score.
South Walton, absolutely, in
that
soccer. And then on the girls' side, we had 3 results here locally. Port St. Joe blanks Rocky Bayou 4-0. I'll go on and use the soccer vernacular there. Destin High School takes down Rutherford Rams 5-1. And Walton, wow, another 7 bomb here in soccer. Walton takes down Bozeman 7-1. So just some of the local results going on. Again, congrats to all of our local athletes getting it done in what should be the winter, but is very unseasonably warm down here for that. But great job on all our local athletes. And I know, Chad, you've gotten to see a lot of them through the years. There's some great stuff going on all year down here.
Oh, absolutely. And, the weather at times is really good. And it gets cold occasionally. And, we have a rainy season as well. But, yeah.
Well, it's usually how we knew it was soccer weather when it got cold.
Well,
but
weightlifting weather, right? It's all indoors.
There you go. There you go. Well, let's get into some college football news, and let's bounce around the SEC. There's, a couple of bits, obviously a lot of coaching moves, a lot of transfer news we're going to get to later. I did want to start with one bit of it seemed more worrisome yesterday. It seems to have calmed a little bit today, but there's not a lot of details out. Word broke yesterday, Coach Mike Leach, of course, our friend from Mississippi State,
right.
Had what was described as just a personal health issue, which I guess is new vernacular, where something went wrong, and he was at home. And they decided to take him. Originally, it was reported they airlifted him to Jackson. He was taken in ambulance to Jackson, about a 2-hour ambulance ride from Starkville to Jackson. He's actually at the, as irony would have it, the University of Mississippi Medical Center.
They're taking good care of him.
Yeah, exactly, especially after that Egg Bowl win this year. But no real details. Of course, a lot of speculation. Won't go into that. It did seem serious, but from all indications, he sounds like he's stable, but, he's 61 years old and a college football coach. So you have to imagine stress can pile up there. But having gone to school there, it does not surprise me that they moved him to Jackson. Oktibbeha County Hospital, I mean, they do a fine job, but it's a very small regional hospital.
Right.
So if it's... Yeah. Let's say it was a major cardiac issue or something like that, it would make sense for them to take him down to Jackson. But we're certainly all pulling for Coach Leach and all of this.
Right, and I'm sure the good folks in Mississippi, they don't care about those rivalries when it comes to your health. In fact, I spent 3 months in Jackson in my training. So anyway, I'm a little bit familiar with what goes on over there.
No, absolutely. And the funny thing is obviously I've lived that rivalry more than most, but it's an intense, nasty rivalry. But one thing I will say is right now with Kiffin and Leach, I think both fan bases kind of like the coaches. They don't necessarily like the teams per se, but there is kind of a begrudging respect of Kiffin from Mississippi State fans, and they love his Twitter game. And who doesn't love Mike Leach's Twitter game?
Right.
I mean, he's a national treasure sometimes, So again, Coach Leach, we're pulling for you. We'll obviously update that as news changes, hopefully for the better.
It's supposed to be entertainment anyway, right?
Exactly.
Sports.
Exactly. Yeah. Those guys get along extremely well, Kiffin and Leach. So, which was not necessarily the case of their predecessors. Excuse me. Other SEC news. Boy, I can't wait to ask Ethan Boyd about this tomorrow. There are rumors. And I really want your take on this, Chad. There are rumors that Texas A&M, of course, they're on the hunt for an offensive coordinator, and they're, from all indications, Jimbo says he's willing to give up the play calling. There are talks that the next offensive coordinator at Texas A&M could be Bobby Petrino.
Oh, wow.
So currently an FCS head coach, of course, gave Arkansas all they wanted in his return there, but obviously former Arkansas head coach, Louisville head coach, NFL head coach, and controversy follows him everywhere he seems to go.
Sure does.
So I want to hear your take on this, Doc. How does a Bobby Petrino, Jimbo Fisher marriage go?
Ooh, man. divorce in a year.
You think they get a year?
6 months.
Oh.
I don't know. Man, the fireworks there, that would be interesting.
Well, look, no one's ever questioned Bobby Petrino's ability to call an offense.
Right. Oh, yeah, no.
The guy is
he's talented.
phenomenal.
Yes.
And if Jimbo were to let him, I think the offense would do excellent things. But you're talking about two very large egos.
Sure.
And that's where I think
Right.
the
That's where the
problem
clash
comes
is
in,
gonna be.
right? But
yeah. And Jimbo Fisher, much larger than his record at Texas A&M.
Sure. Well, and here's it's almost like there's no win in this situation for Jimbo, because I mean, I guess there could be a win if they went and won the national championship, but if all of a sudden the offense starts clicking and they start doing well, it's because of Petrino, right?
Right.
And
It's lose-lose.
Yeah.
It's a slow beginning to an end that's going to drag out. Once the coach starts losing his ability to control the team, whether he's play calling, I've seen this before. I mean, it happened to Gus Malzahn at Auburn.
that
right?
was the example
So
I
they
was just
didn't want
going to
him
bring
calling
up.
plays anymore. I mean, everybody's demanding. So who's the head coach?
Yeah.
I mean, what does head coach mean?
Well, go back earlier.
You know.
Go back earlier in the Auburn thing, too, when Gus was there under Gene Chizik. Of course, all the talk coming out of the national championship year was Gus's national championship
Right.
with what he
Oh,
did
yeah.
with
No,
Cam
I heard
Newton.
it. Yeah.
And then he left, obviously. And
Right.
so it was like, why are we hanging on to this Chizik guy? We need to get Gus
Right.
back. And that was a lot of the impetus for bringing Gus back.
But Chizik was their defense.
Exactly. And that's
they,
what was missing.
They lost sight of that.
That's what
Yeah.
was missing in 13. But I could see a similar scenario if Bobby goes to A&M and they light it up offensively and do pretty well. I don't think he's content to be an OC the rest of his life. He still seems like he wants to get in the mix. I could see that kind of situation go where maybe the faithful go, we got the answer right here. He's in the OC chair. He's not in the head coach chair.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's worth thinking about, though.
This is what there are consequences when you lose. Consequences.
Yes, there
and he's
are.
got all that talent. And don't get me wrong. I mean, there's it's not the same situation, but a little bit of similar kind of discussion when you look at Bama, who had all these players and then lost 2 games that technically they shouldn't have lost.
Sure.
I mean, Texas A&M obviously lost a whole lot more. I don't even think they're going to a bowl at all, right? They weren't even
5-7.
eligible. Yeah. A little bit different situation, but it's getting challenging to have a stacked team with this transfer portal. And we thought, Jimbo had this great recruiting year. He had a good recruiting year before that. Surely Texas A&M is going to be in the top 10, and that's where it looked like they should have been, and then they weren't.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more complex than that. I don't want to make it seem like it's very, very simple, but it all falls on the head coach ultimately, whether regardless of the circumstances, and that's who it falls on. And unfortunately for Jimbo, he bears the brunt of the blame here.
Well, he does, and that you hate to put it all down on one position because it is a team game, and,
Right.
and
It
to
is
be
a
the
team
ultra
game.
elite, you've got to have 22.
Yeah.
But it seems
And they got to play good football.
Correct.
And all of them execute.
correct.
That's right.
And but the one common theme out of all of the top teams right now is they've got the quarterback situation answered.
Yeah.
And that was one thing Texas A&M never got answered this year. Now, Connor Wegman was a freshman, and I think by the end of the year that has been answered going forward. But that's where Jimbo kind of got, off. He went with Haynes King. Haynes King's too loose with the football. He's talented. He's too loose with the football. And as such, now he's in the transfer portal. He goes to Max Johnson. Experienced hand, not necessarily as talented. Max Johnson gets injured. So now it's like, do I go back to Haynes King, who I just benched, and I've probably wrecked his confidence, rightly or wrongly, or do I go on and go to the freshman early? He goes to Haynes King. He ends up having to go to the freshman. So Jimbo never got the quarterback answer correct. And when you don't have that in this day and age of football with the rules the way they are,
leadership on the field.
yes, and that was where they got upside down. But you look at all the top teams; they've got their answer at quarterback.
Yeah.
And we saw what happened to Alabama when Bryce just got hurt. I mean, It was Milroe's a talented athlete.
Yeah, but it's a different team for sure.
No, absolutely right. So, that was, you want to talk about content. Jimbo and Bobby, let's make it happen. Ethan, stroke that check. Let's make this happen.
There'll be plenty to talk about on this show.
Oh, my God. I can't wait to talk to Ethan about this tomorrow. Well, I'll tell you another thing that I can't wait to talk about, and that is J. Michael's Restaurant. It is red beans and rice day, Chad. I'm going to have to be there. Oh, my stomach just grumbled thinking about it. J. Michael's there. Hey, even if you don't want the red beans and rice, it's the best seafood. It's the coldest beer you're going to find anywhere down here in Bay County. Get out there to J. Michael's today. Blue Sky Express Car Wash right there on Panama City Beach, kind of right by Arnold High School there next to Home Depot. They use the best equipment. It is a fantastic car wash. Your car's going to look better than the day you bought it after you go visit the guys at Blue Sky Express Car Wash. And we have the man, the myth, the legend himself in here with us today, Dr. Chad Mitchell of Orthopedic Associates. Doc, tell us a little bit about the office there and what you do.
Obviously, we had a name change to Orthopedic Associates. We have merged with them. It's really pretty much the same office if you've been there. So anyone that wants to reach out to get an appointment, 850-785-4344. Call Orthopedic Associates, and we'll be glad to look at them.
Hey, for those of you of a certain age, if you want to become Lee Majors or Lindsey Wagner, get out and see Dr. Mitchell, the Bionic Man. He will. You remember when the $6 million Man sounded expensive?
Oh yeah.
That's like a backup tight end in the NFL now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious! Time flies when you're having fun. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to take a break here right now. When we come back, we're going to get into more from around the college football world. We're going to talk about the Heisman. We're going to talk about other hires. We're going to talk a little Army-Navy. When we get back on the Coach James Hale Show, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Weather in Northwest Florida can change on a dime.
Gale force winds bombarded with heavy rain.
That's why 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida has the most up-to-date forecast on the Gulf Coast. Hi, this is staff meteorologist Tim Root with over 40 years of experience. I know just how fast we can go from sun and fun to a serious situation. For the most accurate and detailed weather when it matters, rely on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Good Monday morning. I'm forecasting clouds and a few showers and thunderstorms today and tonight. A weather front stalled very close to us, and the temperatures with a blend of sun and clouds will be in the low 70s during the day and low 60s at night. More showers and thunderstorms tomorrow. We'll keep you updated. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. For ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Bestway Portable Buildings has been your portable building specialist since 1989. Before you invest your hard-earned money someplace else, owner Jason Mulder invites you to stop by Bestway and get a quote on just about any size building. And whether you buy with Bestway or not, it's worth the trip just to meet Bestway Buddy. Say hello, buddy. Good boy. Bestway Portable Buildings, just north of Harts Marine on 231, and online at bestwayportablebuildings.com. The best in portable, period. Tell them Buddy sent ya.
What's that grin about?
I just took a load off my staff by hiring Fresh Start Cleaning Services.
How'd you manage that?
Fresh Start Cleaning Services allows our team to leave at the end of their shift and not have to stay and clean after a double. They're happy, and you should see the difference having a professional cleaner makes. Plus, now I know exactly how much the cleaning cost will be for the year.
Wow, that would make anyone smile.
You can call Fresh Start Cleaning Services at 850-771-6057.
I'd like to introduce.
Now back to the Coach James Hale Show.
Milk was a bad choice.
If I could just have your attention.
60% of the time, it works every time.
If anyone wants to switch jobs, let me know.
Live from the J. Michael Studio.
I have many leather-bound books.
At 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back Monday morning, Coach James Hale Show. We are on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We are also on 102.1 in Marianna and 101.9 for our friends down in Port St. Joe. You can listen to us anywhere. You can listen to us on the web.
That's right.
I do that when I'm traveling.
We're on Facebook Live too, right?
Oh, that's scary. I've been told I have a face for radio. I said voice. They said no face. You have a face for radio. Well, let's get into some more college football talk here, Chad, and let's talk about an award that gets way, way too much hype, which is why I call it the Hypesman. But of course, it gets a lot of news, so we are going to talk about it a little bit. Now, what I had kind of forgotten is the SEC had taken the last 3 Heisman Awards in a row: Joe Burrow, Devontae Smith, and Bryce Young. So, of course, that streak was broken this year. But the streak that was not broken this year is the fact that the quarterbacks still dominate this award, which makes Devontae Smith winning it that much more impressive. The top 6 vote getters, all quarterbacks. You had to get to number 7 to reach Blake Corum, the injured running back from Michigan. But you just can't tell me that only quarterbacks should be in on this award. But I get it. It's a quarterback-driven league. They get all the praise and the plaudits. Well, let's look at the votes. In 6th place, we had Bryce Young, defending Heisman Trophy winner, who I thought should have gotten more because, quite frankly, he looked like he meant way more to Alabama this year than last year.
Right.
Bryce got 17 first-place votes and a total of 141 overall points. In 5th place, a guy who definitely did not get enough love just because of his injury. I know in his big game against Georgia, he didn't have the best game, but this guy, to me, should have at least been invited to New York. Hendon Hooker.
Exactly.
Quarterback for Tennessee. Also 17 first-place votes. He did. Yeah. And ended up with 226 points. Chad, he has to get it. I mean, they can invite more than 4 people. Why wouldn't they have brought him to New York?
It's a good question. I guess because, his injury, he was out, didn't have the final couple of games. Maybe that had something to do with it. And, looking at the stats, I don't know. Maybe I'm a little biased. I like Caleb Williams. Mm-hmm. I do. I like him as a quarterback, but I mean, let's face it. What kind of defense did he face? I watched USC games this year. I did. I watched a few of them, and he wasn't throwing the ball against good defense. I look at Stetson Bennett, and okay, I mean, this guy just gets no love. Wherever he goes, he gets no love, but he is a winner.
Yeah.
And, I'm not a big Georgia fan. I mean, I like that they're in the SEC, and I love to, that they're very talented. But when I watch Stetson Bennett, he just gets it done, and that's why Kirby has him at quarterback. So, I mean, in my mind, the best of those, if I, and you've got the other quarterbacks as well, but just right off the top of my head, Stetson Bennett to me is the more important of all of them.
Well, it was an interesting visual if you look at the 4 quarterbacks sitting the picture. Stetson Bennett looks like their father.
Right.
Now, granted,
he is older.
He's older than Lamar Jackson.
Well, and there's something to be said there, yeah.
But, yeah, it was interesting. Look, I was on record in the offseason. I actually thought Stetson Bennett would have been perfect to ride off into the sunset, never pay for another drink in Athens as long as he lives, because Georgia has such a talented quarterback room. And I was a little worried that Stetson Bennett was going to be the next Jake Fromm in keeping a Justin Fields off the field, much the way they with the talented Beck and Vandegrift, and I can't remember all the names they've got in that quarterback room. Boy, was I wrong, because Stetson Bennett improved tremendously this year from last year, and he was a good quarterback last year.
He's smart, and think about it. The guys behind him, watching him, maybe they have better talent than he has, but watching a guy with less talent be smart and know where to put the football and know the timing, know the routes, know where everybody is.
And knows when to run.
Exactly.
Too. And he can when he needs to.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Stetson Bennett, the elder statesman, he was 4th in the Heisman voting. He had 36 first-place votes for a total of 349 points. In third place, C.J. Stroud, the preseason favorite, quarterback from Ohio State, didn't have the year. Now, he's missing a lot of his weapons for most of the year, but did not have the year.
He was kind of like Bryce Young to me, a little disappointing.
Yeah, and in the big game, just did not show. And a lot of people, and they mentioned it on this show, kind of had a little pouty face.
Yeah,
and just did not respond to the adversity as well. But he had 37 first place votes for 539 points. In second place, a guy who made a big move late. I actually thought he was going to make a bigger run at first, just number one because of the amazing comebacks he had all year, but also the Caleb Williams fingernail thing I thought was going to hurt him a lot, and I think it did hurt him some. Not so much his play on the field, but his little message for Utah in that game, let's say. But Max Duggan from TCU ended up second. He had 188 first-place votes for a total of 1,420 points. And then, of course, the winner, Caleb Williams from USC, transfer from Oklahoma, who ended up with 544 first-place votes and a total of 2,031 points. It really wasn't as close as I thought it was going to be. Well, we've got a caller on the line. Caller, who am I talking to?
Well, it's Bulldogs. What's up? How you doing this morning, Brian?
Hey, man, doing well. How you doing?
Doing good. I was going to call in about the Heisman and a little bit about the Georgia quarterback room and all that. Let me tell you something. The Heisman has changed, I believe, for the worse. I just don't understand. I mean, my two picks, if you want to, represent excellence, is why would you not take a quarterback who's 27 out of 28, won a national championship, and then you got Bryce Young, who's won a national championship, who still played to way above par than most of those players, and then they give it to a kid who lost to Utah twice in the same season, and then writes obscenities on his fingernails in front of the whole country is changed so much that they don't even recognize what's true about the Heisman. Like when Tebow won it, Tebow was not basically the best quarterback, but he was the best player for his team. He was the best representative of his university, the best representative of sportsmanship and leadership. If you read what it's supposed to be, there's no reason the boy from USC should have won a trophy. No reason whatsoever.
I'm totally with you. And
well, let me tell you something. Most people who win it don't ever win a national championship. So guess what? I'm happy. We'll bring home the Natty again and be like,
there you go.
Keep that trophy.
Yeah.
Keep that trophy out there in Southern California with all y'all's, liberal bull crap. And, because you wouldn't catch a Georgia player writing that on their fingernails. I promise you that.
No, that's true.
Or Alabama player.
Right. No, I agree with you. I think Bennett and Young, just for their leadership capability and what they show, they're always big in the big moments, too. And
even the kid from LSU, Jordan Daniels had a hell of a season.
That's right.
Come on,
huge
man.
part of their success.
He was the main reason they got there. How can you not give him any credit? And you know what? And everybody just blinks their eye at the boy from Tennessee. Good gracious alive. The boy from Tennessee had a great season.
Oh,
great
man.
season.
He
come
all
on.
kind of yardage.
Well,
and you see,
it had turned into a bit of a stats award, and I'm sure that was, their deciding factor between Williams. But I'd have been okay if Max Duggan would have won it, because I watched that guy put his entire team on his back, 4 or 5 times? I know he's not playing top-notch defenses all the time, but he put that entire team on his back 4 or 5 times this year and came up just short of the championship.
You know that, right? Max Duggan, ex-Georgia Bulldog.
That's right.
You take
Max
Stetson.
Duggan was an ex-Georgia Bulldog. He was a walk-on at Georgia, and then he left.
I tell you, walk-ons at Georgia do pretty well.
They sure do. And I tell you what, so you take Stetson Bennett, and he's playing these big defenses in the SEC, and he's making it look like child's play. I'm sorry, that means a lot to me. That means a lot, and I have a lot more respect for that kind of quarterback than I do the others that aren't playing big defenses. Now, they can't help
I'd take the kid from Florida State, Travis. Travis had a better year to me than, he carried his team.
He sure did.
Caleb Williams is a good player. Don't get me wrong.
Right,
but
he is.
That persona of what he showed for the season, and, he pouted too. You know, the Ohio State quarterback would have won it. I never would have watched it ever again because he was the biggest powder of the year. I mean, the terrible. So you got to look at what goes with the good and the bad. Don't worry, we've had some close games. We Kent State close game, Missouri close game, Kentucky close game. Stetson Bennett's not the best player on our football team. You know, Jalen Carter is probably the best football player on our football team. He is the man.
He's good. He's really good.
Well, and you know my affinity for Brock Bowers.
Oh, Bowers.
Bowers gets passes from Stetson Bennett. So, and then the offensive line. If I were to vote our team this year, being a Georgia fan, the best feature of our team this year, which we didn't get it going early, but now we're getting it hot, is our running game, is the offensive line. We're going to pound it down your throat. We're going to run it right up the middle all game long, and we are run first, pass second all day long. We're back to that same motto that we got to the championship game last year. And I'm telling you, it's getting stronger by the second each game. So Kendall Milton's coming on strong. We're going to be tough to beat.
Well,
I like these Ohio State guys saying, well, they gave up 30 to LSU. They gave up this, that, and the other. We're going to put 40 on them. Well, I hope y'all try to put 40 on us.
Well, and Michigan showed what a good offensive line and run game can do to Ohio State. I hate to do it, brother, but we got to head to a break. Good to talk to you this morning.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good day. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs. That didn't hurt as bad as I thought coming out of my mouth. You know. Pulling for the SEC, though. I'd love to see a back-to-back because I do like that team and how they play.
I do, too.
Tell you what else I like. That Cajun place. No better place to watch college and NFL games. 75-cent wings out there. You will absolutely love it. Dat Cajun Place. And after you go there and pound down them 75-cent wings, you need to get over and see Jason Kovaleski at Max Fit Sports Nutrition. Now, he will be one of the few people won't be saying go Dogs here.
No,
big Ohio State fan. He's pulling for the Buckeyes in the playoffs. But get out and see Jason. He's got just tremendous products. You want to feel better. You want to look better. And you can try it before you buy it. Max Fit Sports Nutrition right there in Pier Park North next to Dick's Sporting Goods. And get out and see Ethan Boyd. We're going to have him in here tomorrow morning. We're going to be talking about Bobby Petrino and Jimbo Fisher and all the goings-on at Texas A&M, since we can't talk about their bowl game. But we're going to do that. But what we can talk about is Rudy's Barbecue. Ethan runs a great ship out there, the best barbecue you're going to get anywhere. Don't forget about that turkey plate. Coach Hale never does. We're going to talk more college football when we get back. No more Hypesman talk, but maybe we're going to talk a little Army-Navy. We might even talk a little bit about the transfer portal when we come back on the Coach James Hale Show, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Home for the NFL. ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's the most live sports on the Panhandle, including premier NFL games. Tonight, it's Monday Night Football. The St. Louis Cardinals host the New England Patriots.
The tight end breaks a tackle, 15, 10, 5, cuts left, touchdown, Patriots.
Coverage starts at 6:30, kickoff at 7:15 right here. The NFL on ESPN Northwest Florida is sponsored by Dave & Buster's and Instant Replay Sports Cards.
Hi folks, it's Tracy from Tracy's Fine Jewelry. Santa called and he asked me to help everyone get ready for Christmas and avoid the stress and rush. So we've stocked the store and slashed the prices on all diamond jewelry. Whether you're looking for a certified diamond, wedding set, diamond stud earrings, or tennis bracelet, Tracy's Fine Jewelry has the best selection of diamond jewelry you'll find anywhere. And they're all on sale now at 30 to 50% off. From stocking stuffers to extra special surprises, shop where Santa shops. Tracy's Fine Jewelry inside Coin and Bullion Reserves.
It's the wonderful holiday season, and that boot store has tremendous specials throughout the store. 10% off the regular price of children's boots now till Christmas. Select winter Carhartt work coats, along with select caps and boots, all on sale. Remember, enjoy your family and friends this Christmas. And as Joe always reminds you, don't forget the reason for the season, the birth of Jesus, the Savior of the world. That boot store. Open Tuesday through Thursday 9 to 5, Friday and Saturday 9 to 5:30. Next to Billboard Key on 15th Street.
Honey, the garage door is acting up again. I'm calling a professional.
All about garage doors.
My garage door is broken. Can you help?
Of course, whether you have broken springs, braid cables, worn rollers, need a new garage door opener, or your doors are off track, we can fix it.
What if it's beyond repair?
Don't worry. If that's the case, we would be happy to find and install the perfect garage door for you. All about garage doors. Honesty, integrity, and reputation.
Now back to the Coach James Hale Show inside the J. Michael studio, where it's beginning to look a lot like cocktails. Lots and lots of cocktails. Merry Christmas from ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. Nobody notified the FCC, apparently. Coach James Hale Show, Monday morning. Dr. Chad Mitchell sitting in with us. Look, if you want to give us, we just had a great call leading into the break, but if you want to give us a call this morning, we would love to talk with you. Give us a call here at 215-6290. That is 215-6290, and you can be a part of the Coach James Hale Show. Got to beat Michigan Eddie to the phone, but good luck.
I haven't heard him call in yet. So.
Oh, no. Yeah, he'll wait and interrupt the Alabama update like he always does. Well, more news from around the college football world. This one's interesting. Big John, you're going to love this one in there. There are reports that Liam Cohen may be headed back to Kentucky. Now, Cohen was the offensive coordinator for Kentucky in 2021 when they won 10 games. A lot of the reason behind Will Levis's success in that first year, and he went back out to the Los Angeles Rams as their offensive coordinator this year to work with Sean McVay out there. Now, there's a lot of speculation as to what this can mean. Now, the Rams, defending Super Bowl champions, obviously have not had a very good year. I think they're 5-9 or something like that. I can't remember but it's not a good record. So there's one school of thought that says, well, maybe he's, getting out before he's asked to leave. There's another school of thought, and Sean, it could be a Super Bowl hangover, but there's another school of thought. Sean McVay made a lot of talk, and he's a young guy, but he's had a lot of talk about the grind wearing him out, and he may just retire.
Wow.
And there's been a lot of talk about maybe Sean Payton in L.A. with the Chargers, but the Rams may be a possibility as well. So maybe it's a case of he knows McVay is going to leave and he's getting out, or maybe he's getting fired, whatever. But it appears at this point that Liam Cohen will come back to Kentucky as the offensive coordinator, and that marriage with him and Stoops worked extremely, extremely well. So if that does happen, that's good news for the Big Blue up there in Kentucky. Well, let's talk a little bit Army-Navy, the big game this weekend. I watch it every year. I didn't watch as much of it this year. I caught little pieces because, quite frankly, and no one on this show will love this, but I was watching a lot of the World Cup soccer, and it was phenomenal if you like soccer. If you don't, you hated it. But Army-Navy is always a fun game to watch, even though it's not necessarily great football. But it is a great struggle, and the pageantry of it all, and everyone in their uniforms in the stands, and everything that goes along with that game was phenomenal. And for the first time ever, Chad, we had an Army-Navy game going to overtime.
Yeah.
Army scores late, sends it into overtime, and then beats Navy in 2 overtimes. Gets them by 3. And unfortunately, 20-17 was that final score. Sorry about that. Unfortunately for that, I'm going to struggle with this one, but I'm going to do my best. Ken Niumatalolo, something along those lines, the head Navy coach for the last 15 years, is out as Navy head coach. Listen to this. This is his record at Navy, 109-83. Wow. You develop that level of winning record at Navy. Wow. You've done something. The guy's a great coach. I think he beat Army like 10 years in a row.
Yeah.
But he struggled a little bit lately. I think they have back-to-back 4-8 seasons. They did have a big win over UCF this year.
Sure.
Your favorite school, as Coach Hale would say.
Oh, third favorite.
Yeah, third favorite. But Coach is out, and Army does get the win. But that's just a phenomenal event. And I love that it's kind of by itself on that last weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And it leads into the Heisman vote and all like that. But Army-Navy, I mean, it's a game that you normally wouldn't watch, but because it's Army-Navy, you're interested, right?
Yeah. Wow. See the rivalry, see the stands full. It's a good tribute to our military. It's a way for them to kind of have some interdepartmental, I guess, rivalry there.
Well, and
put some bets on who's going to win this year.
That's right.
They're usually playing pretty close football to each other.
They are.
That's why you have a game like this that goes into overtime.
Well, and in this area, of course, it's Air Force and it's Navy, but I grew up an Army brat, so I do lean a little bit toward the West Point. But I probably shouldn't have said that publicly down here. I may not have as easy a life. But congrats to Army, but congrats to both of our military institutions, and congrats to Air Force for winning the Commander-in-Chief's trophy this year.
There you go.
As a top one, so good on all of them. Well, let's talk a little bit, Chad, because now the college football world revolves around the transfer portal.
Oh, man, it's changing all of college
It's
football.
unbelievable. You can build a winner in a year, and you can lose a winner in a year. And, recruiting never stops anymore because you're having to constantly recruit the players that you have. Well, let's highlight a few of the kind of the top names that are already declared into the portal. I'm sure it's not going to be all of them, but let's see what's out there. Now, some of the big names that are out there, and we'll get into a little more of this in the Alabama update, unfortunately, but one of the big ones from the SEC is Dominic Lovett. Now, he's a wide receiver. Now, their top freshman this year was a guy named Luther Burden, who's a great wide receiver, but Lovett was an excellent wide receiver as well. And he's drawing a lot of interest from several top-notch programs across the country. So he's one to watch out for. Another SEC product who is in the transfer portal is Jaheim Bell. And he was a tight end at South Carolina. I'm a little surprised anyone from South Carolina is entering the portal because they've had 2 great years where I thought they played above their talent level, and they're kind of on the rise.
And, correct me, is Spencer Rattler coming back? He's coming back?
I haven't heard for sure, but I expect
him
to come back.
I didn't
know he struggled early this year, and there was way too much hype put on him in Oklahoma, which was based on 2 guys before him.
Sure, but when he's playing his best ball, though, I mean, you see, he's hard to beat.
Their 2 biggest games of the year,
exactly.
he was good.
He was good. That's right.
And that matters.
So if he has a good scheme behind him and he knows where his route runners are going to be, watch out.
Right. Well, and this is interesting because that tight end position has become a big-time position in offensive football nowadays.
Right.
And
do they have some big tight ends behind that guy?
Maybe that's it.
Yeah. I mean, you just never know what's coming in.
That's right. Another SEC guy we'll probably talk about a little bit more lately, but JoJo Earl.
Yeah.
Wide receiver, punt returner.
That's sad for me to see him.
I was a little
leave.
surprised by him. Some of the other guys I could see. A little surprised by JoJo because he seemed to be featured a good bit.
Right. Well, he didn't play as much as he wanted to, I think.
And no one ever does.
That. I know. But the guy does have some talent, and he's a speedster. But, for whatever he's had injuries, and for whatever reason this year, he really didn't play as much as I think everybody expected him to play.
Well, and he kind of fell out of favor as the punt return because McKinstry had become such a phenomenal returner.
And so some of that is probably playing into his decision.
Let's talk about a couple other positions, and we'll get into some of the quarterbacks because that's where all the attention is going to be focused. But Fentrell Cypress, he is a defensive back from the University of Virginia, and he is in the portal. And boy, what a mess those guys have gone through this year, obviously with the late season, the 3 athletes getting shot and killed, and, you can understand.
Hard year.
Yeah. And then Dason McCullough is a linebacker from Indiana who has entered the portal. He's drawing a lot of interest from some of the big boys. And then before we get to a break, I want to throw probably the 3 big quarterback names right now. Who are out there, and they're drawing interest from a lot. And then in the Alabama update, I want to ask you a question about this, but Hudson Card from Texas, who finished the game against Alabama, he has entered the portal. Devin Leary from North Carolina State, who got injured this year, actually in the Florida State game.
Right.
Great player.
Very good player.
Very experienced. He's in the portal. And then one that doesn't surprise us, DJ Uiagalelei from Clemson.
Oh, I didn't know he was in the portal.
He's in the portal. They've
wow.
clearly moved on to Cade Klubnik. I think it makes sense. I have a feeling he may end up at UCLA.
Oh, that would probably be a good fit
which
for
would
him.
be a good fit for him. He's a California
right,
kid.
Be a good
everything.
fit.
But is he a Chip Kelly guy? Well, we'll talk about that when we come back. Let's talk about some more of our great, great sponsors here on the Coach James Hale Show. Chuck Tucker, South Oak Title and Closing. Look, when you're selling real estate, you don't want to deal with any issues in closing. That means you need to deal with Chuck Tucker. They are the best. You will have no issues with closing, and it'll be a perfect scenario for you. Chuck Tucker, South Oak Title and Closing. Paparazzi Gourmet Deli. Oh, my goodness gracious. I want to get out there for lunch today. You'll get what they call a slice of pizza. It looks like a whole pizza to me. It's so darn big. But that lunch special they've got is phenomenal. Folks, Coach Hale's out of town this week. You might actually be able to get to the bakery this week and get some of those desserts. It is, his fingerprints are probably still on the case, but Paparazzi, it's 3 restaurants in one, the deli. You need to get out there, see Big John. Tell him you heard about him right here on the Coach James Hale Show. And Dr. Ward, dermatology specialist, let me tell you something. 1 in 5 develop skin cancer in their life. Don't become a statistic. Get checked out. Dr. Ward is phenomenal at what he does. And if you are listening to us right now, he has an office in your area. That is Dr. Ward with dermatology specialist. And you need to get out and see him. Don't become another cancer statistic. When we get back, we're going to talk a little FSU. Brought to you by Newbies right here on the Coach James Hale Show. ESPN Northwest Florida.
You're home for the NFL. ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's the most live sports on the Panhandle, including premier NFL games. Tonight, it's Monday Night Football. The St. Louis Cardinals host the New England Patriots.
The tight end breaks the tackle, 15, 10, 5, cuts left, touchdown, Patriots.
Coverage starts at 6:30. Kickoff at 7:15 right here. The NFL on ESPN Northwest Florida is sponsored by Dave & Buster's and Instant Replay Sports Cards.
Good Monday morning. I'm forecasting clouds and a few showers and thunderstorms today and tonight. A weather front stalled very close to us, and the temperatures with a blend of sun and clouds will be in the low 70s during the day and low 60s at night. More showers and thunderstorms tomorrow. We'll keep you updated. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. For ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
We know that juicy, cheesy, grilled to perfection burger sounds amazing, but it does sound like something is missing. Pepsi, baby! The yin to this burger's yang. Burgers and Pepsi go together like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice-cold cola a journey to Foodtopia. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Is that the sound of an ooey gooey, cheesy, crunchy slice of P-I-Z-Z-A? Obviously. But as good as that sounds, we think it can get even better. Oh yeah, that's the sound of a freshly opened fizz-filled Pepsi. The only thing that can take this flavor medley of crunchy dough, mouth-watering cheese, and savory sauce to the next level. How about another bite? Pepsi and pizza sound like a match made in heaven and taste even better. Pizza, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Now back to the Coach James Hale Show.
I'm not prepared. I really am not prepared at all.
I hope you won't judge me on one email I sent 10 years ago.
My apartment smells of rich mahogany.
Live from the J. Michael Studio.
Not after spicier food,
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Florida State, Florida State, Florida State. Woo! FSU update. It's so exciting to do the FSU update this year.
Exactly.
Previous years, it was kind of hard to generate
very
some
hard
excitement.
To do, but it's a lot easier to do
Oh,
these days.
it's so much fun
Thank
with
you,
a good,
Mike Norvell.
yes, with a good Florida State going. And thank you, Jordan Travis.
Exactly.
Wow, what a year he's had. FSU update brought to you every day by Newbies. All the Newbies properties around this area, the mothership where you can catch the best bands in the Southeast. Newbies 2 on the Curve, great place to go watch sporting events. And don't forget about the Booze and Brew right there on Front Beach Road. Great place to have local events, reunions, gatherings, things like that. All the Newbies properties. You may not remember leaving, but you will have had a good time if you go to any of the Newbies. Well, let's get into some FSU update. Obviously, a lot of the focus is going to be on the Cheez-It Bowl.
Who's
right
the
there.
cheesiest? That's all I can think of.
Well, it's better than getting the mayonnaise dumped on your head like at the Duke's Mayo Bowl. But the Cheez-It Bowl, December the 29th, that is a Thursday. It's going to be on 4:30 p.m. our time. It'll be on ESPN coming to you from Orlando. So you would certainly expect there to be a large FSU contingent in the stands.
Oh, yeah.
As they play Oklahoma.
And I would say, hey, let's turn out for this game.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. I mean, been waiting a while. So let's go get this done. But Oklahoma team that certainly struggled all this year. Brent Venables looked like he had it going early. And then it
Wheels
turned
fell
south
off.
in a hurry. And a lot of people won't forget
and
that
I like
Texas
Brent
loss.
Venables.
I
hope he's able to turn it back around because I really do like him. And, the older I get, the more I have an appreciation for the coaches. I mean, the kids are the same age every year, right?
I don't know. Stetson Bennett's like 100.
Well, I know. The coaches get a little bit older, but I've really gotten into watching these coaches and watching them change a program or destroy a program in the case of Jimbo Fisher, but not to pick on Jimbo too much. Anyway.
Well, yeah, but so with all the focus on that game, we're going to talk about that all this week, but I wanted to do because they had a big recruiting weekend in Tallahassee, a lot of big-time recruits, and I want to talk about some of the guys that were on campus and some of the events that they went through because this was interesting reading. So just a couple of the names that were on campus. Defensive lineman, Reuben Bain. I can't even read my own writing. I'm turning into Coach Hale. Reuben Bain. Now, he's a number 73 overall prospect this year's class, the number 10 defensive lineman. Out of where? Miami Central. No shock there.
Man, stealing them from the Canes.
Miami and FSU are the top two. Now, he still has Louisville in play and Alabama in play.
Oh, wow.
But Miami and FSU, according to Bain, are clearly leading the thing here. Tight end, Kyle Morlock. Now, this is a cool transfer story. He was a Division II All-American at Shorter University.
Wow.
And he's now drawing interest from FSU, Illinois, Auburn, and Tennessee.
Wow.
They're going to be visit seats.
Yeah, that's a great story.
Great for
that's
him.
Almost Stetson Bennett-like.
And FSU certainly needs some help in the depth at the tight end position. So Kyle Morlock is a guy that they had on campus. Devontae Brown, another transfer. This is a defensive back transfer in from UCF. He was on campus, and he brought with him for an unofficial visit his younger brother, Damari Brown.
Wow.
Who is also a defensive back from American Heritage down in Fort Lauderdale, another pipeline of talent, who is the number 191 overall.
Wow.
So that'd be quite a combo deal. You get an experienced DB from UCF and one of the top DBs in the country. Another defensive back, a 3-star Edwin Joseph. He's out of Chaminade, Madonna. He just won a state championship and then was on campus this weekend for his visit. So congrats to him. He's getting interest from Penn State, Louisville, Auburn, South Carolina. Speaking of Penn State, one of their defensive back commits, Conrad Hussey, 6'1", 190. He was on campus as well.
Now, this is on campus at FSU.
This is at FSU this weekend, along with University of Virginia linebacker commit Cameron Robinson. Now, he's 6'2", 215. Randy Shannon very involved in a lot of these guys' recruiting, but certainly his. He's out of Essex High School, and I want to say this, Tappahannock, Virginia. Another one of those reservation names up there in Indiana, in Virginia. I've got a couple of questions as it goes to this. I do want to highlight one thing, and then I want to ask you a question about your thoughts on something. So they have a lot of events, and obviously most of them are centered around on the ball field. But one of the things, and a lot of the recruits talked about it, the thing that stood out to them that they had the most fun with, they had a cooking competition for the recruits, and the strength judges or the strength coaches were the judges. And the kids talked about, like, I've never cooked in my life and things like this. So the strength coaches may have been taking their life in their own hands with some of this, but the kids loved it. They thought it was so much fun, and they were competing against each other with their dishes that they were making.
Oh, my goodness.
And actually, Reuben Bain and Edwin Joseph won the competition.
What did they cook?
It was a chicken dish. I don't know exactly what it was, but even Cameron Robinson talked about it. They finished second in the cooking competition. He said.
So was John saying he thought they were brownies that were being cooked or something?
It's a good thing they weren't in Colorado. But look, what a great idea!
Yeah,
just something that the kids, it's
different.
Unique. That
Gets them out of their element. How do you respond to that?
But take alpha males, make them compete at something.
Yep.
It's a great idea, and that's one of the fun things. And I think it's one of the edges Norvell is having. But I did want to get into one thing, and this irks me a little bit. And this has nothing to do with FSU. This is just UVA linebacker commit, Penn State defensive back commit. If you're committed,
why
are you on another campus?
Yeah, right.
It's okay.
I'm just
words
looking.
matter.
I'm just looking.
Right? Am I overestimating this, or should words matter? If you're committed, don't go somewhere else.
Well, Brian, you know, we have.
Or am I in the get off my lawn stage of my life?
The NIL has something to do with that.
Sure.
Think about this: the more places you visit, the more valuable you are. That number goes up.
Sure.
Right. And so I can see why they would visit other schools. I mean, you know, it's no different than Saban entertaining a rumor that he's going to coach at Texas.
Sure.
And he gets a pay raise at Alabama. It's no different than that. And so this is what has entered college football at this point.
I agree.
You know, you got the NIL, the transfer portal, all these things going on together. If I were one of these kids, I'd be visiting every school that wanted to see me. I'd be upping my number.
I don't disagree with doing that. In fact, I think that's smart.
Right.
What bothers me is, to me, there is no downside to just saying, I really liked Virginia.
Sure.
But I'm still looking.
Right.
To me, there's no downside.
Yeah. And
the fact that you
and
say
I
you're
see the
committed.
same on that. I get it. If you're committed, you're committed.
God, it
right?
irks me.
Yeah, I get it.
I don't know. Maybe I'm making too much.
And then when they decommit, it's the decommitment that I think drives people
crazy.
It's
almost like by saying you're committed, you get a news cycle story. By decommitting, you get a news cycle story. By committing somewhere else, you get a new. It's almost like
maybe that's
they're
what it
addicted to the
story. Maybe that's what it is. And you know, here's the thing about the NIL. You know, if you get a news cycle, I mean, all of a sudden your stock from an NIL standpoint just went up. And, you know, they've probably got people telling them to do that. You know, I mean, this is speculation. You know, I don't have any proof of any of this, but right, celebrity marriage. I love John.
I just look. It bothers me, but every time I hear myself complaining about it, I just hear myself going, "Get off my lawn!" It just hurts me.
Oh.
Well, let's talk some more positive news for FSU. And there's a lot of it, thank God, because again, we've had years of a lot of non-positive news. FSU offensive lineman Dylan Gibbons has been awarded the. This is ironic. The Danny Werfel Trophy for community service. Now, this is actually a big honor.
That's awesome. I do like Danny Werfel.
It's a big honor, you know, for community service. And this is across all of college football. He's only the second player from the state of Florida to win it, Tim Tebow being the other. But his foundation that he set up has raised over $500,000, and they cover lots of different areas. But, you know, they do a lot with, like, special medical needs that people have that come up. Or he's taken, like, underprivileged children on shopping trips and things like that, getting them things that they need. He's also done work, his foundation, with help after natural disasters, certainly with the hurricane this year that rolled through Tampa area, Fort Myers area.
Yeah, Fort Myers, yeah.
But, you know, congratulations, because that is a big honor.
It is.
It is.
And you know, and it's good to see young people doing that kind of off-campus work.
Absolutely right. Offensive lineman Dylan Gibbons. A little awkward you're going to be holding up a Gator trophy, but congratulations to you.
Danny Werfel's a good guy.
He is.
You know, and that's a good award.
Pride of Niceville, I believe.
Yeah.
Wasn't that? I don't know. I can't ever get to sit where every Niceville, Fort Walton was one. Somebody's going to call me angry if I get it wrong. So Pride of somewhere in the Panhandle. We'll do that. Well, let's talk about some more of our great sponsors. Again, want to thank Newbies for all that they do and every day sponsoring the FSU Update. Don't forget about Buffalo Rock. You need something to chase those Newbies products down. Buffalo Rock makes some great ones. I'm telling you what, I'm going to have me a pepper this morning. Buffalo Rock has done so many great things for all of the local athletes and everybody in this community. Make sure when you're choosing your beverage of choice that you choose Buffalo Rock. And then don't forget Turf Pro Pest Control. Turf Pro Pest Control can have your lawn looking just like that golf course out there at Bay Point. Make sure that you call them and tell them you heard about them right here on the Coach James Hale Show. When we get back, we're going to talk some Alabama football, everybody's favorite segment. We're going to turn the phones off for Michigan Eddie during this segment because we got some Bama to talk, Chad.
Hit the block that caller button.
I'm telling you what. Right here on the Coach James Hale Show, 104.3 Panama City, 102.1 Marietta, and 101.9 Port St. Joe. We will be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida. Here's what's happening.
We're playing Fight Song Feast with Texas Roadhouse. Leverage your knowledge of college football fight songs to win a Texas Roadhouse gift bucket this Christmas and Thanksgiving. Win $60 in Texas Roadhouse gift certificates. Just listen Thursday mornings with Coach Hale at 8 and the afternoon underdogs at 5 for your chance to win. The Fight Song Feast from Texas Roadhouse and ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good Monday morning. I'm forecasting clouds and a few showers and thunderstorms today and tonight. A weather front stalled very close to us, and the temperatures with a blend of sun and clouds will be in the low 70s during the day and low 60s at night. More showers and thunderstorms tomorrow. We'll keep you updated. This weather forecast has been brought to you by KHS and Associates, your source for affordable health insurance. For ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Bill Bird Kia is thankful for you and now offering 2.9% APR up to 48 months on the purchase of a new 2023 Kia Soul during the season of giving back. Bill Bird Kia, the home with a 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty.
Offer from Kia Finance for the purchase of a new 2023 Kia Soul with $22.09 per month per 1,000 financed in 48 months. Quality is limited. No down payment required. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 1/3/23.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM Mariana, WBLQ Port St. Joe, powered by Pepsi, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Ben and Deb Collins, owners of Bay Guns and Gear, have been in business since 2010, offering new firearms and accessories with a huge selection available for your hunting needs and personal defense. Turn to Bay Guns and Gear. They have the weapon for you. Discount pricing. And if you can't find what you're looking for, they'll special order it for you. Bay Guns and Gear, across from Grease Pro at 3115 Highway 77. Visit their website, baygunsandgear.com.
Put down your natural light. It's time for the Alabama Update. The Alabama Update, weekday mornings at 8. On the Coach James Hale Show in 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Roll Tide, roll! For you, Coach. Alabama Update brought to you every morning on the Coach James Hale Show by Steverson Air Conditioning. And it's amazing. We're in the middle of December. We still need that AC going. But Steverson Air Conditioning, they are number one. If you're having any trouble with your unit, they will get it serviced. Or better yet, just buy a new one. It's one of the few things that you can buy in this life that will actually pay for itself. Steverson Air Conditioning, just like Alabama, though not this year, number one. Well, Doc, what have you got for us on the mighty, although slightly less mighty, Crimson Tide?
Well, the fog has not lifted on who's playing in this All-State Sugar Bowl game. It's number 5 Alabama versus number 9 Kansas State at the Caesars Superdome against the All-State Sugar Bowl. It'll be played Saturday, December 31st. at noon on ESPN and on the ESPN app.
I just can't wrap my head around the Sugar Bowl being played in the morning.
Right.
I can't do it.
Yeah, and that's the way it feels. Noon feels like morning, especially in the SEC. So, I've been curious. I've searched for the past couple of weeks any little inclination of who's going to play, who's not. I mean, the assumption is that Bryce Young's not going to play, that Will Anderson's not going to play, that some of the other guys are not going to play. And then you've had players leave the team to go into the transfer portal.
Right.
And we'll get into that here in this segment a little bit. So let's start, I guess, with the transfer portal. Now, the good news for Alabama is they actually hosted and offered this Maryland tight end, C.J. Dupree. They offered him a scholarship to come to Alabama. He's in the transfer portal. And for those of you who don't know who that is, this is the Maryland tight end that at one point during the season they're playing Ohio State. He gets the pass. He's running down the sideline and hurdles the Ohio State defender. It was impressive. I mean, he's clearly an athlete. He's from Orlando, I think. Anyway, talented player. He was a quarterback in Orlando. So the kid's talented for sure. Again, that's C.J. Dupree. Anyway, Alabama's made an offer to him to try to shore up the tight ends. But on the downside, you had Trey Sanders go to Colorado. Of course, Trey Sanders had a lot of injury. And
I don't have any issue with Trey Sanders, and for this reason.
I don't either.
I like that he came back this year. I thought he would have transferred coming into this year, and I wouldn't have even held it against him then.
I wouldn't have either.
I like that he came back and gave it a shot. Right. He's now transferring, I believe, as a graduate, which I'm okay
Good
with.
for him, yeah. And it's good he's got his degree.
Yeah.
Some of the others that entered the transfer portal this year for Alabama is offensive line Tanner Bowles, offensive line Javion Cohen, offensive line Damian George, offensive line Amari Kite, offensive line Tommy Brockmeyer. You seeing a trend here?
I made this joke to Coach Hale.
Offensive line.
So originally, a lot of the people who went in were offensive linemen and wide receivers. And the joke that I made to Coach Hale, but I wish it was more of a joke than it is, oh, my God, who are we going to get to miss blocks and drop passes now?
There you go.
Because that offensive line was not good this year. And the receivers dropped a lot of balls.
Oh, they did. And, in the wide receiver category, you've got JoJo Earl, Trayshawn Holden, and Christian Leary all, leaving. JoJo Earl, I'm a touch surprised at, but maybe he didn't get the playing time he wanted. There's, he's been injured. Of course, Christian Leary's been injured. Trayshawn Holden, I thought, got the ball.
He got a lot of targets this year.
It just makes you wonder, what's going on with him. What's he thinking? Anyway,
he may have heard too many fans like me questioning his ability to hold a football.
To hold on to the ball, yeah, I get it. He may have got.
Now, word I got just this morning was that he has apparently indicated that he's heading to Oregon. Trayshawn Holden.
Okay, yeah, and that would make sense. He's wanting to go somewhere where they're throwing the ball.
Sure.
So that makes a lot of sense. Then you got running back Trey Sanders, which we talked about, went to Colorado. Defensive lineman Braylon Ingram and cornerback Kyrie Jackson. Those are the ones that Alabama, in theory, is losing to the transfer portal. I guess they could always get in the transfer portal and then pull back out if they if they got talked to. But.
The hard part in any of these cases where these big teams recruit so much 4- and 5-star talent is they still only put 22 on the field. And a lot of these guys feel like they have a chance to play at the next level, and in order to play at the next level, they feel like they need to be on the field. Now, I would tend to argue that a lot of the NFL scouts will put a premium on someone who's come through the Alabama program, come through the Georgia program, come through the Ohio State program.
For Trayshawn Holden, Oregon's not bad.
Right. That's
for Trey Sanders, if he has a great year at Colorado, that's not bad either.
And look, plenty of guys go into the NFL from very small schools too, but you understand those guys feeling like, and look, Kyrie Jackson, that defensive backfield has all kind of talent.
Oh, yeah.
Whether or not they played up to it, certainly the safeties had some issues against Tennessee.
I'll argue there were some scheme issues. Yeah. And this is not trying to throw any of the coaches under the bus. I mean, I don't envy, but they were predictable.
Absolutely.
And so when you're predictable, I mean, offenses will light you up if you're predictable on defense.
Yeah, absolutely. So I understand some of those guys feeling like they need to get playing time, and they probably had conversations with Coach Saban, and they're probably looking at the guys coming in as well and going, these guys are good too, and it's not getting any less competitive. And so some people, make a decision that may work out. Look, it worked great for Jerome Ford.
Right.
Great. Counter to that, he was in that running back room. It was loaded. And he decided he needed to go to Cincinnati. He did really well there and got into the NFL. I don't know if he's still on the squad or not, but so you hate to see him go because you'd like to see them when they get their shot, but you can certainly understand it. As to the guys playing in the bowl game, I hate it because it's not the way I grew up with it. But I certainly understand if Bryce Young doesn't play, if Will Anderson doesn't play. I don't even know that I hold it against them. I mean, I want guys who want to play. I love the fact that a couple of years ago when we were in this situation, when we lost, 19, when we didn't make the playoffs, and Jerry Jeudy and those guys had a decision to make, they played.
Right.
I thought that was important, but you're talking about Bryce Young and Will Anderson, very well might be 1 and 2 in the draft this year.
Right.
Jerry Jeudy went in the first round. He wasn't 1 or 2.
Right.
So I have a hard time being upset at somebody for not playing in what unfortunately has become a meaningless bowl game.
Right.
You ever think we'd say that about the Sugar Bowl?
No, but it's the way it's happened. I mean, if you don't make the playoffs, you're not really playing for anything. What are you playing for? Respect? Yeah. I mean, that's out the window because if you're trying to go to the pros, you're worried about getting injured.
And look, that's the goal. Well, Chad, let me ask you a question here. I don't mean to stir up controversy, but this may do it.
Sure you don't.
Oh, yeah.
Let's stir. Let's
got
stir
my fingers
the pot
crossed here. So, look ahead. Bryce Young's clearly gone. We all agree Bryce Young is leaving.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, looks like he's leaving. Yeah.
You got Jalen Milroe. You got Ty Simpson. You got, I can't even remember the kid's name who we flipped from A&M. Who'd be an incoming freshman.
I'm hearing rumors that Paul Tyson's back in the transfer portal.
I don't think he's coming home.
I don't either, but you wanted to be controversial, I'll throw it out there.
That's where I'm going. That's where I'm going. If you're Alabama, Ty Simpson has not had any meaningful snaps. Milroe did, but to me, this is me. Again, I'm not the end-all, be-all of college football knowledge. Jalen Milroe's not the answer. Jalen Milroe is a perfect guy to bring in to give you a wrinkle.
Let me tell you, here's my opinion. And Milroe, if he wants to get mad at me, that's all fine and all good. I don't think he's the answer at quarterback.
Right.
I think that guy, he needs to rethink where he's playing. He needs to be a tight end / wide out / slot. He's fast. He's big. Nobody can stop him. You get the ball to a guy like that out in space.
In space.
Oh,
absolutely.
my God. I mean, and so he's got the talent. And I get he wants to be in charge. He wants to run the game. I understand the quarterback thing. But somebody with his talent and his skill set, man, put him out, a big old tight end out there, out on the sideline. Who's gonna be able to take him down?
So let me ask you, much the way, look, before transfers were a big deal, we got a heck of a good year in the national championship out of Jake Coker. If you're Alabama,
you had great running backs too.
We did.
Yeah.
If you're Alabama and you have most of the other pieces in place, do you, because Ty Simpson may not be ready, and we don't think Milroe's the answer at quarterback.
I think Milroe's a good quarterback.
I don't
want to say that he's not a good quarterback.
You don't go get DJ. I think we agree on that. I don't think you go get Hudson Card. Do you make a run at Devin Leary, who's an experienced hand and a good quarterback from NC State, to give Ty Simpson a year?
Boy, that's a tough one. I mean, because I know plenty of people that actually like Milroe, that have actually seen him on the field. They feel like Milroe has the talent, the same talent level. Maybe not with throwing, but he's got that run ability with the ability to throw. I also know I've talked to some people that feel like that because Milroe hasn't had the majority of the snaps, that if Bryce Young sits this game out and Milroe gets all the snaps in practice, that you will see a different quarterback is what I'm hearing from insiders. Now, you know, I thought that was going to be the case a little bit. You know, this year he comes out and plays well, and then there was a game he didn't, and you know, and it just seems like he got shut down and made one-dimensional. And you know, there's a lot of thinking at that position, but I mean, his speed. I mean, that's the one thing I felt like Alabama was missing all season is speed at a receiver position, and he's the second fastest guy on the team, and big. I mean, you know, how is it that somebody hadn't talked him into going and making big money in the NFL, playing one of those wideouts, tight ends, whatever, catching the ball and making people pay for it?
Yeah.
You know.
Wow. It's going to be interesting, and I think you're right. I think that's going to be the one great storyline to this Sugar Bowl is will what happens in the practice leading up and in that game determine what the quarterback picture is going to look like going forward for next year at Alabama. Well, we're going to have to wait on that. But what you don't have to wait for is El Rodeo Tequila Bar and Grill right there on Thomas Drive. I have been there numerous times. It is absolutely fantastic. Great happy hour specials. Buy one, get one freeze on all your favorite drinks. And the food there is outstanding. And occasionally you might even get that mariachi band come up and play for you. They follow me around. But it's a good time there at El Rodeo Tequila Bar and Grill, the best Mexican restaurant on Panama City Beach. Want to thank Steverson Air Conditioning again for their daily sponsorship of the Alabama Update. When we come back, we're going to talk some Auburn football. A lot going on the Plains. Hugh Freeze. Whew. It won't be uninteresting, that's for sure, in Auburn. So we're going to talk some Auburn football when we come back right here on the Coach James Hale Show, ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida is feeding families for the holidays this Christmas because no one should go without during the holidays. So we're providing 20 families with a Christmas turkey and a gift card. To nominate a family in need, just share their story with us. Go to ESPNPC.com and click Feeding Families for the Holidays. Sponsored by ESPN Northwest Florida, Panama City Toyota, Rudy's Barbecue, Pete in Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electrical.
Good Monday morning. I'm forecasting clouds and a few showers and thunderstorms today and tonight. A weather front stalled very close to us, and the temperatures with a blend of sun and clouds will be in the low 70s during the day and low 60s at night. More showers and thunderstorms tomorrow. We'll keep you updated. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. For ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Dear past, present, and future football watchers, you know why we're here. The football season is back! Woo! That means those pregame barbecues with an ice-cold Pepsi? Totally back. Your perfectly placed football-watching corner seat back and comfy as ever. 18 Sundays of touchdown scoring, Hail Mary throwing, ice-cold Pepsi flowing football action. You better believe it's back. And since that's too amazing to miss a single second's worth, Pepsi is officially giving you permission to always put football first. And when we say always, we mean always. Like when your lawn is looking less like a lawn and more like a jungle. If the game's on, then the lawnmower ain't. And those gutters you haven't cleaned? Today is not their day. Or maybe those in-laws are back in town. Well, better hope they're football fans because your Sunday is completely booked. Long story short, crack open a Pepsi and don't let anything get between you and your football watching. With love, Pepsi, made for football watching. That's what I like.
Tiger fans, join us weekday mornings at 8:15. It's the Bay Point Golf Auburn Update on the Coach James Hale Show at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
War Eagle. Hey.
I just can't say it. My wife can, but I can't.
Every time I say it, there's a lot of people in my family that disown me.
Oh, no. I've said it plenty of times when I'm at the stadium with my wife. We love Auburn. It's a great place, great school.
Absolutely.
Great
is.
atmosphere
I was up
for
there,
college football.
I was up there a little over a week ago.
Nothing better than the Eagle flying over the stadium.
Right.
I mean, that is classic college football.
And they had the Super 7, the high school games there, which I thought is neat because every one of them games they televised, they're running over that AU right there.
Yeah, that's right. You know, my wife's high school, Andalusia High School, won the state championship there.
Well, there you go.
Yep. Congratulations to them.
Mine did not. We bowed out in the first round, unfortunately.
Yep.
But anyway, Auburn Update brought to you every single morning by Bay Point Golf. Ryan Mulvey, he's going to be in here later this week with us talking about everything going on down there at Bay Point. But there is no better place to play golf. This is what we call local season for the golf. Get out there and play. It's beautiful weather right now to go play. Might be a little bit of fog out there, but it was absolutely warm enough to go play. You won't, if you hit the ball like me, where you blade it and hit it off the hosel and those hands shake when it's cold, that hurts. You can get away with it when it's warm. So, but anyway, Bay Point Golf sponsoring the Auburn Update. Get out there and see Ryan and the crew at Bay Point. A lot going on at Auburn, even though not in a bowl game, not playing for anything like that, but certainly a lot going on. Coach Hugh Freeze, of course, hired. Great story for numerous reasons. But Hugh Freeze is reportedly starting to fill out his staff. He let a lot of guys go. He kept a few defensive players. Of course, kept Cadillac Williams.
Which is good.
I think it's great.
Yeah, you need to keep Cadillac Williams. He's a great guy, great motivator. He's going to be a great coach, I think.
Yes,
one day.
he is. Yes, he is. And I think he's
on his way.
Associate title, but he's also going to stay the running backs.
Yeah,
coach, so.
which is where he needs to be.
But coordinators are what you need to lock in, and it looks like Hugh Freeze has got both of them. Ron Roberts, I don't think he's officially been named, but all sources are confirming that Ron Roberts is going to be the new defensive coordinator. Now, Roberts is a former Baylor defensive coordinator. He was defensive coordinator at Baylor each of these last 2 years. Of course, in 2021, Baylor was one of the top teams in the country and was best defense in the Big 12 by far. That's like saying you're the nicest guy in prison some years, but he had a great defense under Coach Dave Aranda, who's also a defensive-minded head coach. But this year, they were very good again, not quite as good as 2021, but he decided to leave at the end of the season, which was a bit of a disappointment for Baylor. I know they didn't have the record that they wanted, but were in a lot of good close games. Really let that TCU game get away from them. But Ron Roberts looks like is headed to the Plains. He was also previously a defensive coordinator at Louisiana under Billy Napier, and then was the head coach at Southeastern Louisiana prior to.
So he's got the pedigree.
That certainly does. Very experienced hand and should be very good for the Auburn defense. Now, on the offensive side of the ball, of course, Hugh Freeze, very offensive-minded head coach. I'm sure he's going to be very involved. But it looks like they're leaning towards more experience. Former Tulsa head coach Philip Montgomery is seen as the odds-on favorite to land the OC position at Auburn. He was 43-53 in 8 seasons as head coach at Tulsa, but they had several really good years that ended in good bowl games. I remember one that ended in a nasty fight at the end of the bowl game against Mississippi State a few years back. But Philip Montgomery, and he actually has some Baylor ties in his background, but Montgomery been a head coach for 8 years, comes at it from an offensive mindset, and did a good job with Tulsa. So looks like maybe not the biggest names in the world, but a lot of experience, which I think is going to be a really good thing for Auburn, Chad.
Yeah, just looking at some of the comments online, I have to bring this one up. This is on AL.com, and it's an article by Cameron Smith, and he puts at the beginning of it, "This is an opinion column." So he puts it out there as the first statement, but the title is Cameron Smith, Hugh Freeze is Auburn's Donald Trump. And here's what he says in the first paragraph or second paragraph. Hugh Freeze is Auburn's Donald Trump. He's shown that he can win where it counts, but poor judgment has dogged his career. And so, I mean, it's a kind of a spin on looking at this. But you've got the Auburn community rallying around Hugh Freeze. I'm all about giving coaches second chances, giving them a chance to, correct behavior, do the right things.
I think what's important is,
they're people.
If this had been immediately after the Ole Miss situation, it might be different.
Right.
I think there is a consensus, there's a majority.
I mean,
that Hugh Freeze has kind of served his sentence,
right. Well, they weren't going to
will.
let him misbehave at Liberty.
Right. Certainly not.
Right. And I think for a coach, that is a great place to go.
Yes.
Is go somewhere like Liberty, get morally grounded.
Yeah.
And then, put your life back on track.
Look,
and I think he's doing that, and I applaud him.
Right or wrong, if Hugh Freeze wins 10 games, ain't nobody going to care who he calls.
Exactly.
That's the thing. So, well, it looks like they're filling out the staff. Let's talk about recruits, because that's one thing you're going to have to do right away. Freeze is going to have to hit the transfer portal hard, and then he's got to build some depth, and you do that in recruiting. So some of the recruits that have been looked at, of course, it did have one decommitment that I did want to talk about. 4-star Ashley Williams Jr. He is an edge rusher. He decommitted. He's from Louisiana, 6'5", 225. Again, 4-star. You would expect that. When you have a coaching change, you're going to have decommitments, because obviously their relationship was with the prior group. So that's one negative. Now, there are a lot of positives as Auburn tries to build this class. Colton Hood, 3-star corner from McDonough, Georgia, from Eagles Landing Christian Academy. Now, a lot of people say, that name sounds familiar. Well, it should, because his dad, Benji Hood, and his uncle, Roderick Hood, also played for Auburn. So Colton Hood has committed to Auburn as of yesterday. He is the number 60 corner and the number 56 overall player from Georgia in this year's class. He was originally committed to Mel Tucker at Michigan State, but he has decommitted there and is now committed to Auburn. Another commitment for Auburn, who also flipped. Tyler Johnson, 6'6", 300 pounds, offensive tackle. Oh, boy, here's another name. These Louisiana towns, let me tell you. Natatoches, Louisiana. You know what they tell you to do is, if you don't know how to say it really fast.
I actually know how to say it.
All right.
It's Natchitoches.
Natchitoches?
It's Natchitoches.
Well, that ain't
Trust
how
me.
It reads.
I get it. It's Natchitoches, Louisiana. Trust me. I've been there.
Stupid Cajuns.
Northwestern State is there. It's Natchitoches, Louisiana.
Well, there isn't an X in this one, at least. So that's
it's also the place where the movie Steel Magnolias was filmed.
Well, I'm glad to say I don't know that.
little random trivia there.
Well, there you go. So Tyler Johnson
from Natchitoches,
Louisiana, 6'6", 300-pound offensive tackle. He was originally committed to Texas Tech. He has now flipped to Auburn. He is the number 59 tackle and the number 29 player out of Louisiana in this year's class. So another good pickup for Auburn. You can never have enough good offensive linemen, as Alabama showed us this year. Now, speaking of offensive linemen, because we're going to need to fill this guy's spot, offensive lineman Brandon Council. Now, this was not a surprise. This was going to be like his 34th year in college. He was one of the guys who benefited from the COVID year, and he had some injuries. But I think it actually would have been his 7th year. But Brandon Council will declare for the NFL draft. He put out a statement. He started the last 2 years at both right tackle and at left guard. So he's very versatile on the line, which is good. But he actually originally started at Akron. So, the
Zips.
The Fighting Jim Barants there at Akron, the Zips. And then transferred to Auburn in 2020, played sparingly that last year with Gus Malzahn, and then started the last 2 years under Brian Harsin at right tackle and at left guard. But he has decided to declare for the NFL draft, and good luck to him going forward in that process. So, you got some decommitments, you got some guys declaring, but also some good news on some guys coming in. I would expect Auburn to be one of the major players in the transfer portal this year. And as much as Robbie Ashford improved, it would not shock me at all if one of the bigger quarterbacks didn't end up heading to Auburn, don't you think?
That's certainly a possibility. And North Carolina State quarterback, what was his name again? Leary. I mean, that might be a good fit.
Like, if you're a quarterback looking to play under Hugh Freeze, is a good spot.
Yeah, and if I were Hugh Freeze, I'd be talking to him. So, you've got to think that that's a possibility.
I got a feeling Hudson Card may be in play.
Well, that too. Yeah, Hudson
I don't
Card's
think
a decent
DJ.
quarterback.
I think DJ's headed out west.
So, I think about this whole transfer portal thing and think the effect that Dion is having going to Colorado. Now, I'm going to tell you, I am a big Dion fan. Yeah. I haven't always been until I actually watched his 30 for 30, and something clicked, and I get Dion now. I think it just was a little bit, of trying to understand him a little bit better. But Georgia Tech, in my opinion, missed out on an opportunity.
Sure.
Georgia Tech could have hired Dion, and he would have wreaked havoc with Alabama's recruiting, Georgia's recruiting, Auburn's recruiting. I mean, he really would have taken it to him. Colorado takes the chance on him, and, he's already, pulling players with him. I mean, it's amazing what's taking place, and I don't know if you saw the controversy, the controversial talk that he gave his players. So y'all talked about it last week, but I just kind of laugh at that. I mean, he had these 5 or 6 characteristics of their players: fast, smart, good character, disciplined, whatever. And he's basically telling those kids, if you're not this or you can't measure up to this, hit the transfer portal.
Well, I loved it. A lot of people took it as he was just casting everybody aside. I thought it was great because you're coming in somewhere new. That's a challenge.
Exactly.
And if those guys just hear that and go, man, I don't want to play for this,
but
and
he's
run
delivering.
away, those are guys you don't want.
Those guys know he's bringing guys in through the transfer portal. I mean, he's already got.
I guarantee you, though, he hopes 10, 15, 20 of those guys go, you know what? You told me to hit the transfer portal, but I'm going to show you I should be playing for this team.
I'm going to rise up.
And those are the guys you want in the trenches
exactly
when it comes down to it. So,
but anyway, so
the guys.
There's going to be a lot of fighting over players in the transfer portal.
Deion Sanders.
And Deion.
Every turn has shown phenomenal judgment.
He's going to be a force.
He sees things I don't see.
Right.
And I trust his judgment at this point. I didn't see Colorado being a right move. There's going to be something that I'm just going to go, yep, he saw it and I didn't.
I mean, I, for some reason, I don't understand. I mean, I get that he's flamboyant. I get that, but I kind of feel like I've figured him out a little bit. Really, the real Deion is not the flamboyant guy.
He plays a character.
Right. He plays a character.
Right.
It's an acting job to hype things up. And the real Deion is about those kids and character and discipline, and that's why I think they respond to him. But I really think that people are forgetting this was the NFL shut down corner.
He shut an entire half of the field.
I mean, just totally would shut it down and would intercept the ball and run it back. I mean, did all these things, and we can talk more about it later. We've got a break.
Absolutely.
But anyway, I'm on his fan club right now.
I agree. Well, let's get to a break here. Thanks again to Bay Point for sponsoring the Auburn Update. We get back, we're going to talk about bowl games. We're going to talk about playoffs. We're going to talk more of everything on the Coach James Hale Show, ESPN, Northwest Florida.
The new app from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is designed specifically for sports fanatics like you. The sports content you demand is always on. Live stream our national and local sports talk anywhere you go. Reach us on all social media. You can also be a part of the show. Call and text into our studios. Plus, up-to-the-minute weather and traffic maps. The new app from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is available at the Apple Store and Google Play.
Hi folks, it's Tracy from Tracy's Fine Jewelry. Santa called and he asked me to help everyone get ready for Christmas and avoid the stress and rush. So we've stocked the store with all of our favorite pieces of gold jewelry, chains, bracelets, pendants, and earrings. Whatever you're looking for, Tracy's Fine Jewelry has the largest selection and the best prices in town. Looking for a curb chain for Dad? Tracy's has it. A gold cross for your sister? Tracy's has it. Even those white gold hoop earrings, yep, that's right folks, Tracy's has it. So shop where Santa shops. Tracy's Fine Jewelry inside Coin and Bullion Reserve.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida are proud members of the Panama City Beach Chamber. We'd like to welcome the newest members to the Beach Chamber.
Salt and Light Services, LLC, Multistone, Balanced Chiropractic, Domino's, Bayou George, and Lawrence Sales Company.
Congratulations from the area's only sports radio station, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
For the golfer on your list this year, Golf Plus, your premier golf shop on the Gulf Coast. Their experts are ready to help you with your shopping. Golf Plus has everything the golfer in your life needs for a great day on the course. Golf bags, irons, wedges, putters, rangefinders, and of course, golf balls. They can even handle custom fitting for your golfer to help with that perfect swing every time. Gift cards available too at either Golf Plus location in Dothan and next to Firefly in the Shops at Edgewater, Panama City Beach.
The Coach James Hale Show is live and local from the J. Michaels studio.
They got something that money couldn't buy.
I was noticing when you come down the stairs that you've got pretty legs.
All right, I'll tell you a story without a happy ending.
Y'all following this?
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Back at you. Coach James Hale Show. Brian Haddad sitting in. Dr. Chad Mitchell. If you want to give us a call, you can call at 215-6290, but you're not going to get through right now because we've got our daily phone call from the voice of the people. Michigan Eddie, how are you this morning?
Go Blue Truck Series, ripping up 22's Beck Tyndall. Yes, I am the people's caller. I got to give a shout-out to that little school in Big Rapids, Michigan, for making it to the FCS championship. Is that what they call it? Or the D3? Ferris State Bulldogs.
2, I think.
Yeah. Ferris State Bulldogs took down the Argos of UWF this weekend. 34-17, I believe the score was. So a shout-out to the mighty school out of Big Rapids, Michigan. What say you about that? Top that. How can you top that?
How can I top Division III football? Oh, boy, let me see. Anything else?
Anyway.
No, congratulations to those guys.
Hey, I thought it was kind of unique, ironic, because, we're in the Panhandle, and I'm from Michigan, and, I never expect them to play it out to, like, the championship game or something, but it was in the semis, so it was good. It was good. So I thought I'd just bring that up. Something new. You know what I mean? It is the Christmas season. Let's go.
There you
anyway.
Go. Well, you never disappoint in bringing new stuff to the show. I will say that.
And I disagree with you wholeheartedly on something this morning.
Oh, that's a shock.
That is true, too. Anyway, no, it's not a shock. No, they should play in a bowl game. And the Sugar Bowl championship means something, like the Rose Bowl championship still means something. You only play college football once. And if you're a believer, hold on.
It means something to me and you, Eddie, but it doesn't mean anything to the players. I get that.
Yeah. But if you're a believer, if you're going to get hurt in your next game, wouldn't you rather get hurt in a bowl game than an NFL preseason exhibition game that doesn't mean a dang thing?
I guess
you
it's
believe,
a little
you
different.
believe in God's will and destiny, right?
Yeah.
And
there's a money difference.
Right.
I know that. There's a
Right.
big money difference. Yeah. Big.
I mean, you're already paid. Well, I don't know. I mean, a lot of the NFL stuff isn't guaranteed, but I don't know. I think the problem is I feel like you do, but I think I wish it were that way again, but I've moved on because I don't think it is that way anymore. And I think Doc's right. It doesn't mean anything to these kids like it does to us. Winning the Sugar Bowl is still a big deal to me, even though I know it's not in the playoff. It's still a big deal. I don't think it is to these kids at all.
And also, rookies don't make the big contracts anymore at the draft like they did when Matthew Stafford and all that were drafted. They lower the tier structure down significantly, so the rookies aren't getting paid more than bona fide veterans. You know what I mean? So it's not like they're getting those big mega draft deals like the rookies used to get. So,
you're right, but the thing that has scared all of these players off, and it's not so much that they don't want to play. They've seen the Jalen Smith stories. They've seen the Lattimore stories from South Carolina of the guys who in their last game suffered an injury that cost them millions. And it's not the majority, but it scares them to death when they see those. And I think that's what's playing in their minds. They don't want to take the chance that that's going to be them because it's money first, but it's also been their dream since they were probably in Pop Warner Ball to play in the NFL. And they don't want to do anything that would jeopardize that. I know they can get injured the same in a bowl game as anything else, but if the game is meaningless to them, if it's not for the playoff, which we haven't seen anyone sit out of yet, then I get where they're coming from. I wish it weren't that way, but I understand their thinking.
Well,
did I stump Eddie into silence? What's going on here?
So, I mean, Eddie, Michigan doesn't have this problem. They're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Well, I know, but like Jake Butt, our one of the best tight ends in school history, he actually went and played the Orange Bowl against FSU and Dalvin Cook when that was that cliffhanger of a ball game. Great Orange Bowl, and that's where he got hurt. Never was the same. Played on the Broncos for a little bit. Now he's a Big Ten Network analyst and an analyst for play-by-play. So, and he's getting paid. Granted, his NFL career didn't turn out, but, he played in that game, and he was a Michigan man. The team. Whereas his teammate, Jabril Peppers, didn't play. He was in the press box. And his NFL career has been kind of ho-hum so far. And I never thought he should have left Michigan his junior year anyway. I think he still has a lot to prove on the field. That's just me. But I'm just old school. I'm a traditionalist. That.
Right. Well, and, in your defense, like teams like Alabama, they actually have insurance in place for these athletes that if they do get injured, that they get they'll get a payout that helps with wherever they were in the draft. I mean, and why wouldn't you play with that?
I'd love to see a good NIL tie-in. Where a sponsor says, look, if you play in the bowl game, we'll give you $500,000.
There you go.
I think that would be great.
Have that in a contract. Yeah. Anyway. Well, you sure are quiet this morning, Eddie.
Well, I'm driving the kids to school and all that.
Oh, well, you better be careful out there.
There's accidents all over the place this morning, so, it is what it is. But, it's just, and plus, Coach Hale isn't there. And you guys,
he gets you riled up, huh?
He gets me riled up, tells me to shut up and all that, and I tell him to be quiet and all that.
Is that all it takes?
You guys are nice. So I can't go all firebomb caller on you guys.
I think you should tell him to shut up, Brian. I think that. I think he's not feeling the love.
Look, I was a coach for 30 years. I don't think I've been called nice much. I don't know how to take that.
You're nice, Brian. Has anybody told you that today? You're nice.
All right, I can work on that for tomorrow.
No, he's always whenever I go into PCB, Coins and Cards now, he's always in there in the back, comes out there, gives me some advice on cards and Pokemon and all that. Well, not so much Pokemon, but
I can't help you there.
But anyway.
Good stuff, man. What else you got for us this morning, Eddie?
And here's the thing. Okay, so I'm going to go off Feinbaum on you now. Anyway,
all right.
Here's the thing. All these people that think Michigan's going to just roll over TCU and TCU's not giving us ball game, they're crazy about the Fruit Loops. And, yeah.
I guess I'm in that bowl. I think Michigan's going to stomp them.
I mean, well, that's what we thought about App State, too. And look what happened there. Just saying. Anyway, and here's the thing. Max Duggan should have won that Heisman on Saturday. That's what I wanted to call him about. Max Duggan, he was all heart for the love of the game. He should have won that game. He was a walk-on, I think, second string, comes on strong. And even though they lost that championship game, that Big 12 championship game, the heart that young man showed, you can't quantify that. You can't. And he should have won it. Hands down. Or Stetson Bennett. Sorry.
Right.
Sorry.
No, I like
I'm
Stetson
not
Bennett.
in it for a guy that transfers schools and all that, and then his team, sorry, lost. He had a great season, mind you, but there's other guys that are more deserving. And I hate it for the Blake Corums and all that. They got hurt the last 2.5 games. That should have been at that presentation, but unfortunately injuries took him out of the running.
Well, it's not Mr. Irrelevant, but Blake Corum did win the award for top Heisman vote getter of a non-quarterback. So I guess that's worth something. But hey, Eddie, we got to go to a break here. I'm gonna put better judgment aside, and I'm gonna cast this to you. Why don't you run down our list of sponsors for us here as we head to break?
All right, here we go. We got the best orthopedic surgeon on the beach and in Panama. So you got Dr. Chad Mitchell. If you have any problems with your knees, elbows, or orthopedics, you give him a call. Then you got Paparazzi, run by an NYPD retired. Back to blue. Go to Paparazzi Gourmet Deli. And then you go to El Rodeo, Mexican Bar and Grill. We haven't been there, but I heard it's fantastic. And you get happy hour, two for one, freeze. So since we're talking about Hugh Freeze, since Brian said freeze, it's not freeze, it's freeze at El Rodeo. And then you got Blue Skies First Cars. You got one on the beach. You got one getting built on your way to Mosley High School, so check that out. They're putting up the center blocks right now. Just drove by there about 10 minutes ago. And then you got...
He's good at this.
Who else we got here? Who else? Who can we forget? Jay Michaels. You got world famous Spaghetti Day on Wednesday. Talk to Ed Strickland. Oh, amore.
All right. Before we lose any more sponsors, Eddie, give us your sign-off here.
Go Blue Truck Series, Representative Soji's back to I'm out. See ya.
The People's Caller has left the building, folks, and we're heading to a break. We will be back, I hope. We got any sponsors left. Coach James Hale Show, ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida. Your home for the NFL. Listen to the biggest games in ultra-high fidelity. Thursday night football. Double and triple headers on Sundays. And Monday night football. The NFL on ESPN Northwest Florida is sponsored locally by Dave & Buster's and Instant Replay Sports Cards.
Good Monday morning. I'm forecasting clouds and a few showers and thunderstorms today and tonight. A weather front stalled very close to us, and the temperatures with a blend of sun and clouds will be in the low 70s during the day and low 60s at night. More showers and thunderstorms tomorrow. We'll keep you updated. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. For ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Hello, Tracy's Fine Jewelry.
Hello, Tracy. It's Santa. I'm so busy this year, I really could use your help.
Absolutely, Santa. I'm happy to help.
This year, I want to make sure everyone gets what they ask for, and I know Tracy's Fine Jewelry has the largest selection at the lowest prices.
We sure do, Santa. We have some of the hottest trending styles around, and our cases are packed full of great deals.
Ho, 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 Tracy. I knew you wouldn't let me down.
Folks, shop where Santa shops at Tracy's Fine Jewelry.
For the golfer on your list this year, Golf Plus, your premier golf shop on the Gulf Coast. Their experts are ready to help you with your shopping. Golf Plus has everything the golfer in your life needs for a great day on the course. Golf bags, irons, wedges, putters, rangefinders, and of course, golf balls. They can even handle custom fitting for your golfer to help with that perfect swing every time. Gift cards available too at either Golf Plus location in Dothan and next to Firefly in the shops at Edgewater, Panama City Beach.
The number one SEC call-in show is now twice as big. It's double the Paul Feinbaum Show. Weeknights starting at 6.
Okay, but also go faster.
Now back to the Coach James Hale Show inside the J. Michaels Studio. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
One more segment. Most people cheering at that. Coach James Hale Show. Brian had Dr. Chad Mitchell sitting in. Eddie, that was great stuff. I love picking on you, but what other caller can just rattle through all the show sponsors
I'm
just like
telling
that?
you,
he could have kept going. We'd still be going if I hadn't cut him off.
He's talented.
He
what
did
can
a
we
great
say?
job.
Yeah,
great job.
And entertaining.
Oh, absolutely.
All in one.
He is truly the people's caller. Well, speaking of callers, we got another caller on the line. Who have we got talking to us now?
This is Richard. When you're talking about teams where their players skipping bowl games and all that, one team stands out, if you haven't heard. FSU's, all their players, even ones that are already in the transfer portal, are actually practicing with the team before they take visits. In other words, some of them have been recruited over. They've been good Seminoles for 2 or 3 years, but the coaches are actually helping them get spots on other teams. And all the players that have already pretty much known to be going to the NFL, Jamie Robinson, Jared Verse, Robert Cooper, they're all going to play the bowl game. They've all announced. They're even said they're going to the Senior Bowl. So that's an example of culture that it's taken a while to get it fixed, but it's fixed.
You know, you're exactly right. I was thinking that as you were going through, and what a great statement that is for FSU. But, you know, it was one of those things, Mike Norvell, I think the first year thought he had cleaned out all of the issues, and then it became very clear a few games into the second year he had not and had to continue doing so. This is a perfect example of Norvell has finally gotten that culture set and gotten the right people in there, guys who want to play for FSU, and I think that showed all year, and you're right, this is a perfect example of that in those guys that they could have decided they didn't want to play in the Cheez-It Bowl, but it meant a lot to them for what they had to do to get FSU to this level that they're going to see this out and play for their teammates. That's a great testament to Coach Norvell and his staff.
And also, of all the players that are not going to the NFL or not going somewhere else that are coming back for another year, Jordan Travis, Trey Benson for sure could have. I'm sure he was told he ought to go to the NFL because of he's a running back.
Right.
He qualifies, but they've actually stepped up with another collective. They've got Rising Spear, which is mainly for new recruits, and they've got a new one called The Battle's End, and that's a statement out of the fight song. Anyway, they're like, I don't know what Jordan Travis is getting for next year, but it's probably more than he would have gotten in the NFL. So it's kind of happening. They're going to play the bowl game. Some of these Trey Benson, Jordan Travis, they're getting money through the collective for next year, and I'm sure it includes the bowl game. So they've got a lot of good chemistry going forward on a lot of fronts.
Yeah, you're right. And it's exciting just looking ahead to next year because, you know, when you have key guys like that coming back and a lot of talent and a good team atmosphere, you know, he's got a good recruiting class. And if you can just find those 1 or 2 or 3 key transfers, to plot in there, a defensive lineman, a linebacker, something like that, this could be a really exciting year for FSU.
They've nailed the transfer portal the last 2 years. I think they had 10 or 12 out of the transfer portal this last year. They had Jermaine Johnson the year before. They planned this recruiting class to probably take about 10 fewer incoming freshmen and reserve a lot of spots for the transfer portal to keep the momentum going. So they've crushed the transfer portal the last couple of years, especially last year.
Absolutely.
So anyway, that's what I wanted my comment. Other than if you didn't watch the Army-Navy game, it was amazing. Always is. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Richard. We appreciate the call. Good stuff. Man, I'm looking forward to FSU next year. I hadn't said that in forever.
Oh, I know.
I mean, it's exciting.
It is exciting.
Absolutely. Well, we don't have time to go down all the list of them here, but maybe are there any bowls that stick out to you as ones you're like, man, I really want to watch that, or anything that just doesn't stick out to you like, oh, my God, I've never watched that?
Well, I mean, aside from the big names, I mean, what I'll do, I'll just go over the ones this week.
Well, hang on one sec. I think yep. Oh, my goodness. Well, we've got an esteemed caller on the line, it sounds like. Who are we talking to now?
Just Greg.
Oh, just Greg.
Just Greg.
I tried to call in earlier, but Eddie, this is
Eddie
Block Eddie show, isn't it? No, I want to make one comment, which I really appreciate. Of course, you guys know I'm an FSU homer, because that's where I went to school. My first year there was my senior year is when Bobby Bowden came, so that tells you my age. I wanted to say something that was really ironic. We were talking about kids getting hurt in the bowl game or not playing the bowl game. The Butts kid that Michigan Eddie was referring to got hurt against FSU, okay, in the bowl game. And then you were talking about the Lattimore kid that got hurt in the bowl game. That was also against FSU.
Wow.
Isn't that ironic?
Yeah.
And all those kids are playing in this bowl game, but yet those two guys, it was Lattimore. Lattimore got hit by one of our safeties. He caught a pass in the flat, got hit, and then never played again. So, and he was amazing. It was kind of a crazy thing.
It was a
but
freak injury,
just a comment. Enjoyed the last 15 or 20 minutes today, and I sure hope that Michigan continues to win, because Eddie's going to jump out of one of those planes. if they don't, I know he's pumped, and I love his passion. So anyway, you guys have a great day. Got to go to work.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I tell you, how great of a mayor do you have to be for everyone to love a politician? Everybody loves Mayor Berdnicki. Thank you very much, Greg, for the call. That
just
was
Greg.
Just Greg. That was an outstanding call. I did not know that both of those guys have been knocked out by FSU.
I didn't think about it, but it makes sense, because I was watching the Lattimore game, and I would have been watching it because FSU was playing. Yeah.
All right, so let's get this.
Bowl games this week.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
All right, so Friday, December 16th, you got the
bowl games this week.
Hometown Lenders Bahama Bowl, Miami, Ohio versus UAB. That is 11:30 a.m.
Listen, nothing against Miami of Ohio, nothing against Birmingham, Alabama. Bahamas is a much better destination than either of those.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right,
yeah.
very good.
Next, Duluth Trading Cure Bowl in Orlando, Florida, and Exploria Stadium. This is 3 p.m. on ESPN. Again, that's Friday, December 16th. Moving on to Saturday, December 17th.
Hang on real quick. That's a game everybody should watch. Troy and San Antonio, two ranked teams who have played great football this year.
Yeah, they definitely have. And Troy, congratulations to them for the season that they've had. Saturday, December 17th, you've got Cincinnati playing Louisville. This to me is a good matchup.
Who is Satterfield what side is he gonna be on? He was the Louisville coach. He just got hired by Cincinnati.
I know. I hadn't kept up with it.
We had a guy in the afternoon show say he shouldn't be in the building.
Anyway, it's going to get real hot there. The Wasabi Fenway Bowl.
Love
this
it.
is in Fenway Park in Boston, 11 a.m. on ESPN. Again, that's Saturday, December 17th. And then the Cricket Celebration Bowl, Jackson State versus North Carolina Central. The Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta at noon on Saturday, December 17th on ABC, and also the ESPN app. Those are the games for
this week.
This week, actually, there are some others. You've got the New Mexico Bowl, SMU BYU, Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl, Washington State versus Fresno State, Lending Tree Bowl, Rice versus Southern Miss, and they go on.
Oh, I'm sure we're going to talk about it plenty. Chad, as we're heading to the break here, we got about 30 seconds. Tell us again how people can get up with you if they're dealing with an injury.
You can call Orthopedic Associates at 850-785-4344. You can also look me up at www.chadmitchellmd.com.
Smitty, thank you for everything today. Doc, thanks again for sitting in with us as you do every Monday. Thanks to all of our sponsors, as always, who make this show possible. Thanks to Coach Hale for flying the coop. Thanks to our callers, even you, Eddie. Thanks to everybody. I will be back tomorrow on the Coach James Hale Show, ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida is feeding families for the holidays this Christmas because no one should go without during the holidays. So we're providing 20 families with a Christmas turkey and a gift card. To nominate a family in need, just share their story with us. Go to ESPNPC.com and click Feeding Families.